Tour Guides. I'm Carrie.
I'm Catherine.
And I'm Bree.
Welcome to part 2 of Denver, because
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
this is going to be a long one. It just is. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
But we do have our second bottle of wine here that we can crack open to...
Yay. Also, we're filming these consecutively, even though you're getting them 2 weeks apart, so...
The fact that we're getting into our second bottle of wine damn near 2 hours in.
Not sorry. Alright, so this is our Infinite Monkey Theorem Merlot. So here we get to take a little crack. Oh!
I'm not going to drink any.
It was a good crack, though.
It was a good crack, but I'm not going to drink any because I'm so swollen.
Yeah. Alright, so this is a Merlot. When I was pouring it, I noticed it was actually really light for a Merlot, which I found interesting.
It's a pretty color.
But
I was thinking that too.
Yeah, I mean, it smells like blackberry jam, which,
Delicious.
love. It smells so good. Tastes kind of like blackberry jam, too.
Nice.
It does have a little bit more tannin to it, so I don't think you would like it.
Yeah.
You want to smell it?
I'm okay, because I'm going to get sad.
Okay. Yeah, it's very jammy, but I like a good jammy wine. I appreciate a good jammy wine.
I do.
Zach got really snooty with me when I brought a California Cab, and he was like, it tastes like a California Cab because it's so jammy. And I was like, yeah, that's why I drink it. Thank you. Yeah, so I mean, I'm pretty pleased with this.
Speaking of your wines, I almost bought one of the Prisoner wines because I was just like, oh, that was so good though.
Prisoner, please sponsor us. I'm already a wine club member of you, but oh my gosh. Prisoner wines.
So
also,
good.
I was so shaken, like, hashtag shooketh,
Shooketh.
to find out that Snoop Dogg owns 19 crimes.
Snoop. Man,
Like,
I kind of love him.
quality
Da-da-da-da-da.
wines. Yeah. Shout out Snoop.
Deal.
You're
Double
chill.
T.
Will you love us?
Honestly though, and you love Martha Stewart, and you guys'
Yeah.
friendship gives me life. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
It's really wholesome.
It
You
is
can-
so wholesome. I love it.
You can come bake with us.
Oh my god, please. Oh my god, this needs to happen.
And, like,
I'm
we'll
gonna
drink
tag
your wines.
you. Oh my god,
Yeah.
yes.
So,
I'm so excited.
Denver Part 2, Snoop Dogg, come hang out with us.
Please.
Alright, but we're going to talk about the Molly Brown house tonight.
Like Unsinkable Molly Brown?
Like the Unsinkable Molly
Yes,
Brown.
There's a
my
musical called The
research,
Unsinkable
too.
Molly
We're going
Brown.
to talk about it.
Nice.
So a bit about Miss Molly Brown before we talk about her house in Denver, because this woman is like feminist icon.
And she's
Ooh.
She is
unsinkable.
amazing.
Who run the world?
Girls.
Who run this mother?
Yeah, so
Sorry.
no, I was gonna tie into something, but I'm gonna wait until, because I talk about it in my notes, but I don't want to get it. I don't want to put the cart ahead of the horse. Yeah, so forewarning, everyone in this has nicknames. So yeah, she was born in an two Irish Catholic immigrants. This was oddly specified in every single.
Why did you just grab my boob?
I didn't mean to. I meant
Irish
to bump
Catholics.
you to let you know it's
That's why.
you.
No.
That's why I felt you up, Catherine.
But yeah, no, it was.
I'm Catholic.
It was like oddly
Irish
specified that her parents were Irish Catholics in every single article I
No,
read.
that's important.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's important.
It's
Well,
very
and-
different.
It does tie in slightly, but like every single article, regardless of what it, like the content of it, was like her parents were Irish Catholics.
It's because Irish and like Italian Catholics are often at war with each other. Like in Canada, they're like warring mafia.
But the only time her parents were mentioned was her parents were Irish Catholics. Like that was it. It was really weird. And I was like, okay, I get it. She's Irish Catholic. Okay. But she was born on July 18th, 1867 as Margaret Tobin, nicknamed Maggie in her youth, in
course she
Hannibal,
was.
Missouri, which is a small town on the banks of the Mississippi River.
She my people.
Mm-hmm. Growing up, Maggie worked at Garth's Tobacco Company, where she stripped tobacco. Fun fact, that's what my dad did in Kentucky when he was growing up.
Oh, really?
And so, while he was helping my grandparents clean out their house and stuff, he found his old tobacco stripping tools and such and brought them home and showed them to me. I was like, interesting. Like, those are slightly terrifying, but cool. But speaking of moving, because he was helping my grandparents move, she moved to Leadville, Colorado with her sister Mary and Mary's husband Jack around
Her sister's
1886.
name is Mary and her name is Maggie. Shocking.
Margaret. Maggie. Mary.
Again.
Yeah. Very
It's very
traditional names.
It's very like almost Lady Magdalene like.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so there was some slight discrepancies there, but of like the day, because every article was like when she was 18, when she was 19. I was like, we're gonna go with this date because it kind of corresponds with later events.
Gotcha.
But she found a job at the carpets and draperies department at Daniels and Fisher Mercantile. But soon thereafter, she met James Joseph, nicknamed JJ Brown.
You know my cousins' names are James and Joseph Brown, right?
Yeah.
The Irish Catholic side?
Yeah.
Do I need to cut this later?
No. You know how many Irish Catholic James and Joseph Browns there are?
I mean, yes.
I have two
I just
aunts
wanted
with
to
the
make
last
sure.
name of Brown that were both my dad's sisters who both married two different
But they're
Brown
not all
families.
connected to you, Catherine. So I just wanted to make sure.
No one knows me.
No one knows me as I tag you in all of our fucking social
I
posts.
changed my name.
Anyway, but they were married. James Joseph, nicknamed JJ. They were married on September 1st, 1886, which I did my research for this episode on September 1st. So there was a weird parallel. Happy anniversary.
Yes.
Except both of y'all are dead.
Also, JJ is a character in Criminal Minds, and we love Criminal Minds.
Yeah, we do.
You love JJ, what a queen.
But Maggie and JJ had two kids, Lawrence Palmer and Catherine Ellen, nicknamed Helen. Again, with the nicknames. She eventually took in her brother's 4 kids after his wife passed away.
That's so sad.
Yeah. And so they ended up fostering these 4 kids, and they had the 2 of their own. It was a busy household.
No shit.
I
come from that many kids.
Woo! Busy. But as I mentioned earlier, Margaret Brown was an icon. She was a hardcore feminist and established the Colorado chapter of the National American Women's Suffrage Association.
Yes,
Get it, queen.
Mm-hmm. And would work in soup kitchens to help families of the miners in the area.
Aww.
Yes,
Yeah, like,
queen.
yeah.
Queen of Denver.
She is known for her Titanic everything, but
I dub thee the queen of Denver and Colorado.
It doesn't even scratch the surface of who she was. Her husband, JJ, was extremely successful in his job. He worked up to being the superintendent of Little Johnny Mine, and he developed a new mining technique that allowed them to increase their productivity.
Wait, a successful businessman also had a wife who was feminist and wanted to help improve the community?
Hang on.
We're not allowed to throw shade yet, or
No.
anything
No,
else.
I'm not throwing shade. Well, I am at some people.
Yes, that's my point.
We're getting there.
Do we not like JJ?
Hang on. So needless to say, they were very well off.
Did he buy a horse?
No.
Okay.
They moved from Leadville to Denver in 1894, where Margaret remained an active feminist once they moved and became the founding member of the Denver Women's Club, which advocated for literacy, education, suffrage, and human rights.
Queen.
She helped raise funds for the Cathedral of Immaculate Conception and St. Joseph's Hospital.
Nice.
One major win for her was working with Judge Ben Lindsay to establish the first juvenile court in the country. This
Oh my
became the
gosh.
basis for the U.S. juvenile court system.
Amazing.
So, iconic woman. Like, I
Yes.
cannot emphasize that enough. She is so much more than this wealthy woman on a boat.
Did you say on a boat?
yeah, the Titanic.
Unsinkable Molly Brown.
Yeah.
Molly is
said,
a nickname.
You can't kill me. I'm a bad bitch. To that iceberg.
I'm a bad bitch.
But she was very well educated. She attended Carnegie Institute, where she studied literature, language,
Wait, like
and...
Carnegie Mellon?
Yes!
Bro.
Dude, I got waitlisted there because I didn't turn in my essay. Because I'd already decided to come to Texas.
Yeah.
Bruh.
But she studied literature, language, and drama. So
Yeah, their drama school's so good.
this comes back later.
They're amazing.
But she could speak French, German, and Russian.
Cool.
Like,
Fucking queen. Like, seriously, oh my god.
yeah.
Yes.
But she ran for Senate even before women had the right to vote.
Fucking queen.
She ran
I
for
love
Senate.
her.
Now,
She's like, fine, I'll do it myself.
Right?
absolutely. And even though she was this feminist icon, her husband had some very sexist views, and they ended up separating in 1909, but never actually divorced because #Catholics.
Sure.
But, like, good on you, boo. Leave his ass.
Oh yeah, like she was
Fuck
doing
that
her own
shit.
thing. Mm-hmm. So I had to take a sippy sip of my wine because wine.
Insert baby
Yoda. I can't remember what it's called. The baby?
The child.
Thank you. I was like, I know it's not baby. Insert the child meme.
The child just sitting there with his little
Sippy cup of fucking wine.
That's me. Okay, so obviously the main reason we know of Margaret Brown is because of Molly Brown, the character from the Titanic. So Margaret and her daughter Helen were taking a tour of Europe, making their way down to Cairo.
Taking a tour.
Making her way downtown.
And she received news that her grandchild was sick. So she very quickly decided to go back to New York, boarded the first available ship.
I went back to New York.
Hey!
Except
I can't.
after the tour, she went back to New York. Yeah. I mean, yeah. But that happened to be the Titanic.
Yikes.
Yeah. And so because this was such a quick decision, most of her family didn't even know that she was on the boat.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. So then obviously the fateful hours hit where, you know, the Titanic sank.
Sure.
And Margaret made the effort to help others onto their lifeboats before she was forced onto lifeboat number 6.
Yeah, because she's literally an absolute icon.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, she was truly a spirit of helpfulness and, you know, others before herself.
I aspire to be her. She's a boss.
Oh, yeah. And so her spirit of caring just didn't stop there. So once she got back to New York, she established the Survivors Committee, where they raised almost $10,000 for destitute survivors and stayed with them until she physically stayed with these people until either a family member came and picked them up, a friend, or they went and got medical assistance.
I have chills. Can you love someone you've never met before?
Yeah,
Yes,
she's literally...
Like, I'm so serious. I have actual chills right now.
Oh, yeah. Do you see my goosebumps?
Adore her.
And, like, I've already, like...
Yeah.
I've written this.
It's interesting to find someone who's that, like, incredible in so many different fields.
Yes. Yes.
Like,
I
she's
seriously...
expansive
Oh,
in
yeah.
her skills.
Amazing.
And her kindness.
Yeah.
Yes.
A quote from her daughter... Excuse me. A quote from her to her daughter regarding her assistance. So this was letter correspondence. After being brined, salted, and pickled in mid-ocean, I'm now high and dry.
I love her!
It keeps going. I have had flowers, letters, telegrams, people until I am befuddled. They are petitioning Congress to give me a medal. If I must call a specialist to examine my head, it is due to the title of Heroine of the Titanic.
Oh my god, I love her.
Was beloved. She ended up speaking out against White Star Line for not providing enough lifeboats.
Good on her.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she was saved because she was wealthy, but she was there trying to help those people who weren't.
And she was trying to get other people onto these
She
boats.
was trying to advocate for those
love
people who were deemed unnecessary to protect.
And
Oh, yeah.
also, they weren't fucking filling the lifeboats
Right.
to full capacity. So many things. Sorry.
So many things, yeah.
Sorry.
But after surviving Titanic, after
Same, Carrie. Same.
Hello, wine. Hello, wine. Halloween.
This Halloween. I'm so excited. Sorry.
Okay, so doing this in 2 parts is throwing off my little calendar of dates because we were gonna release our last one that we have planned the week of Halloween.
I never know the dates. No, this
I
is
put them on
perfect
top
though.
of the things, though.
Ouch, that pulled my hair. This is perfect though because I was trying to get us to 30 episodes released, and if we go like the first week of November, I'm pretty sure it's 30. So this is perfect.
Yes. Okay, but after surviving the Titanic, Margaret worked harder than ever to advocate for labor rights, women's rights, education, and literacy for children and historic preservation.
Amazing.
She
All
worked-
important things.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, iconic woman.
Yes.
I cannot emphasize that enough. Oh my gosh. I know I say it like 18,000 times.
No, she's
No.
really inspirational.
Deserved.
Yeah. She worked with the American Committee for Devastated France during World War I and was awarded the French Legion of Honor.
Ugh.
Dang.
All of this was in addition to what she was already doing with raising funds for the Titanic victims and her involvement with the Juvenile Court of Denver.
Can someone teach me how to be a badass like her?
She's
She was so
cool.
driven. Like,
Oh,
She
what
also
an
did not give
amazing
a
woman.
shit.
no.
Like, she was going to do her job regardless.
Ended up running for the Denver Senate. Not Denver Senate, the Colorado Senate. State Senate. Again, after all of this, she was beat out because she was a woman.
yeah, fuckers. Like, how do
Patriarchy.
you give someone, not give someone with that many accolades and shit? Like, how?
Oh, yeah.
No, a vagina.
I know. Fucking, you
She literally
scared little
survived the
fucks.
Titanic and then was worried about everyone else. She's perfect.
These
Well-
pussy ass bitches.
To add another layer to all of this, she was a performer in Paris and New York.
Oh my
Of course she was.
No big deal. You know, in addition to all of her advocacy
Can she
and
be our
philanthropy.
god in our cult that we make?
Please?
We just worship Molly Brown.
Margaret Brown. Yes,
oh
ma'am.
my god. We're gonna have a picture of her in our like speakeasy cafe
and she's
thing.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, it's
I'm gonna look her
Queeeeen.
up right now. Of course
She's
she is.
beautiful.
We're gonna do it.
But Margaret Brown passed away on October 26, 1932 from a brain tumor.
Oh.
She was buried next to her husband, JJ, in Long Island's
fucker.
Holy Rood Cemetery.
Holyrood?
Rude?
I
Rude.
think so, yeah.
It's
Okay.
a Scottish word.
Yeah, it is Scottish.
It's
It's hella Scottish.
I'm just gonna say it like I would say something
Oh,
else
no.
spelled like that.
You're good.
Like,
But I think that's what it is, because it is super
Rude.
Scottish. Yeah.
it sounds, yeah. That's probably right.
Queen.
So,
She looks super Italian almost.
she never went by...
She's Irish. She's black Irish like I am.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, okay, thank you. That's, yep.
Yeah. But she never went by Molly Brown. So, of course, how did Molly Brown come about? In the 1930s, Denver Post reporter Jean Fowler wrote a folk tale using the name about her life. And then Carolyn Bancroft wrote a highly fictionalized and romanticized account using the same name. Some radio broadcasts picked it up in the 1940s, and then that translated into the 1960 Broadway musical Unsinkable Molly Brown,
Yep.
and was eventually turned into a movie in 1964.
Interesting.
Of course, this legend also inspired the character for the 1997 film Titanic. Side note, the Brown family very heavily tried to reverse this misconception that, you know, she was just this, you know, socialite. She, you know, she really didn't have any cares. And unfortunately, they were unsuccessful, so they just withdrew from the public because of this whole spectacle.
People suck. She was
Yeah.
so much more than that.
Oh, yeah.
And like, yeah, she was beautiful, but like, fuck that shit. She was amazing.
Oh, yeah. Like, her legacy is spectacular, which is why I wanted to really go into her history before I talked
Yeah,
about the house.
She's cool.
Because I was just blown away by all this research. But, you know, obviously Molly Brown is the name that we know and love. But yeah, Margaret, girl, queen.
Fucking queen, man.
But knowing the history of her now,
Yeah.
her house in Denver is haunted.
Cool.
But she really didn't have any traumatic deaths happen there. But there's some fun little instances that happen. As I mentioned earlier, the house... Oh, no, I did not mention that earlier.
Oh my god, Debbie Reynolds plays her in the movie.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Molly Brown House sits at 1340 Pennsylvania Avenue, now Street, in Denver, Colorado. It's a 2.5-story building that began its life in 1887 by William A. Lang. The initial family that lived there were the Larges, but they fell into some financial difficulties and sold their house to Margaret and JJ for $30,000. As someone who just bought a house for a lot more than $30,000.
But I mean,
Yeah.
also think of that conversion, though.
I mean, you can pretty much add a zero onto it, and it would be about what today's is.
What year was it?
They bought it in 1894.
Oh, fuck. That's more than a zero.
You have a conversion calculator going?
$854,179.12 today.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Yeah!
But they moved in on April 6th, 1894. JJ transferred the title to Margaret in 1898 due to his poor health. And so he did not die for probably like, I don't remember. I want to say he died in the 1920s.
But this was prior to their separation, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he transferred it to her 11 years before they separated.
Nice.
Yeah. But he was already in poor health, and then he died, I want to say 1923-ish, so about 10 years before her.
She got the house, though. Woo-woo.
But she did get the house.
So he was like kind of sexist, but he wasn't like abusive or anything.
No.
Okay.
Okay, I
But it
take
was-
back that fucker comment from earlier.
Well, it was definitely more of like a women should stay in the house,
Yeah.
not be
That was a
advocates and run
common-
for Senate.
That was
Yeah.
a common mindset at that point, unfortunately, which doesn't
Yeah.
excuse it.
Yeah.
It doesn't excuse it, but at least he wasn't
Yeah.
like abusive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm pretty sure she would kick his ass.
Oh, yes.
Good for her.
Yeah. They only lived in the house for about 15 years, but as mentioned earlier, Margaret liked to travel, so she would rent out rooms while she was out of town.
She's a smart businesswoman. There you go.
Oh, yeah. Well, like, she would hire a governess to just run the household and rent out the rooms because there's no need to have an empty house if you're going to be gone for months.
It's
on
like
end.
owning
She
an
was
Airbnb.
probably-
Yeah.
and she was probably thinking, like, these people need a reasonable place to live.
Yeah.
We're
'Cause
getting
she's
there.
perfect.
She is perfect.
The governor rented a room in 1902 when the governor's mansion was being remodeled. And eventually she turned it into a boarding house. And when she passed away in 1932, it turned into a hashtag Jane Addams whole house.
Oh my god.
Bringing it full circle here
Why
from...
do we have so many amazing women.
we
Like,
do.
Was that Chicago?
Yes.
Yeah. So shout out to Chicago and Jane Addams. Powerhouse women up in here.
Yeah.
I know him.
Oh my gosh, I was listening to that earlier today.
I listened to the mixtape with Jimmy Fallon on my way here.
Oh my gosh, they did a good job with that mixtape.
Oh, I love it. Take a break, and I'm just like,
Oh.
they're like, cat, and I'm like, yeah. They go hard in that shit. Oh my god, and immigrants. Oh my god, Snow
We
the
get the
Project.
job done.
Hey, Snow the Project hits that hoe.
But yeah, so it turned into a settlement house when she passed. And, you know, after she passed away, it did start to deteriorate.
I mean, it always does.
Yeah.
Right.
You know how much work it is, and you have to be an absolute queen to keep that shit together.
Oh, yeah.
It's
And
hard
so
to
it-
keep just owning a house after
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
die. Like fuck,
And
which
so
is sad.
it started to deteriorate, and they wanted to tear it down. But in 1972, the home was listed on the National Register of Historic Places.
She was like a worker, like she was an
Because she was a
advocate of-
queen.
Yes, fucking
Ugh.
history people.
Yes.
I love you. I love it when they're
As
like,
someone
I'm
who
registered.
lives
Oh my god,
who
yes.
just moved away from the historic district that's on the National Historic Registry, that was the thing that made me sad about moving, because we love our new house.
Yeah.
But that still made me sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that shit. Oh my god. My
Yeah.
history people, I adore you.
It's so
Uh-huh.
important, like,
It
It
is.
is.
and like we both have history degrees.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I would get one if I was better with dates. I'm
Oh,
terrible
I'm-
with dates.
I'm terrible with dates.
So the historic Denver group did meticulous research to restore the house and turn it into the museum that it is today.
God,
They
yes.
spent, I mean, it was a multi-million-dollar project, and they went back to the 1910 and photos that they found to accurately restore her house.
I love my fellow history people so much.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That shit, because that's, okay, first of all, it's so fascinating, but also, like, seriously, you can learn so much from history.
Oh, yeah.
And so, like, being able to see it and experience it and, like, live in it even for a short period of time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it interests people.
Oh, yeah.
And so then they actually fucking study history and then they can learn from history.
Like, hey, we're leaning towards a nice little
Oh
dictatorship
my
up
god,
in
so
here.
I love it when you read my mind and I don't have to say it.
Yeah. Well, and I'm appalled at some of my friends on Facebook
Oh, yeah.
because they I'm sorry. I don't get people who think that what our dictator in chief is doing is okay. But it's turning into an us versus them, which is how you have situations like, you know, the Nazis, where it's very us versus them.
Yep. And I feel like for a very long time it has been us versus them. It's just been a less noticeable and vocal us versus them because now they have a fucking dictator in power who not only allows it but encourages it.
Well, and it's now I have permission from our leader.
And this is what I try to explain to people. So, okay, let's say I know fuck all about politics. And for a while there, I didn't know shit about, like, the basis of, like, the very basics. But I can tell you he's a shit-ass human being.
Uh-huh.
And what is something they ask you when you go to preschool or kindergarten? What do you want to be when you grow up? And a lot of people say the president of the United States. Is this what you want your children to look to and aspire to be? Is this how you want your children to act and treat others? I say fuck no. So why the fuck should we not only allow, but encourage this behavior and him to be in office and to act this way? Like, okay, you don't want to make it about racism? I think you're wrong.
Okay, first off,
but
it's gone too
fine.
far to even just, like, kind of
Yes.
brush off racism.
Yes.
It is fully about
Yes.
racism.
Yes, but
he's also disrespectful
Yes. To everyone.
That's
to
what
everyone.
Okay, that's what I'm getting
women,
to.
People with disabilities.
That's what I was getting to.
To our armed service?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Most recently, our armed service people. Of
Yes.
course, when this comes out, it's going to be like a month ago, but...
That's what
still.
I was getting to. You don't want to make it about racism, okay? Like, that's dumb because it's relevant. It needs to be about this as well, but there are so many other issues. And like you said, about women, like grabbing them by a pussy, like motherfucker. And also, like,
Stormy
people with
Daniels
disabilities
and was just
making
like,
fun
yeah,
of
no,
someone.
he paid me off.
Oof. And like people with disabilities, when he first was talking, making fun of someone with disabilities on national fucking television.
Who was a professional journalist.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
Yeah. There are so many
To have
things.
someone overcome their disability and become a professional in a rigorous field like that.
And his disability wasn't affecting him doing his job correctly.
Right.
Like, damn well. Like, I just
he's
don't
a smart man. He just happened to have a physical disability. And I just...
Yeah.
And, like, you are a fucking childish elementary bully.
Yeah.
Like, that is how you are acting. To make fun of someone with, like, ooh, boo. No, motherfucker.
You disagree with me? I'm going to make fun of you.
You are literally a child.
I meant all politicians are sneaky and kind of snaky.
Yes.
But to outwardly make fun of people, it's just like, how do we handle this?
Well, it gives everyone else permission to do so.
Yes.
And now... You know, as educators, we have to fight
I have to fight it in the classroom.
Yep.
I sure
every
do.
single day.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's disgusting.
How about we talk about ghosts?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could talk about this forever.
Yep.
Let's talk about some ghosts.
We're not a political podcast. We just want everyone to know that we love you.
We love you even though there are factions.
There are factions of our
that
country
don't.
who decided that you're not worth it. You definitely are.
You absolutely are. Anyway, so, history of Margaret... Not terribly traumatic. She was an activist. She did not get, traumatized by any sort of major event other than, the Titanic. But she survived and was a thriver from it.
the Titanic.
Yeah.
But, like,
and then she saw a lot of people die.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was scarring.
But also, like, she thrived through it.
Yeah. No, I get what you mean. It's just funny because the Titanic, people are like
corpsicles floating around.
Yeah. But like
sickles. Oh my God, that reminds me of the fucking stemless wine thing. The
corksicles.
I know, but when she says that, what's it called? It's a something sickle.
Corksicles.
Yeah. So when she said corpsicles, it reminded me of that. Sorry, don't hate us. Please sponsor us.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Provide our
corpsicle.
Glasses.
That'd be a great thing. We can make little dark side tour guide glasses.
Guys, I'm gonna buy a cricket and we're gonna make things.
I need a walk for our next episode, so I really need you guys to give us some money so I can buy a walk.
Walk.
Oh, I thought you said to walk, and I was like, Jesus, Catherine.
I'm walking unless I get the money.
No, I thought you meant like, oh, my joints are so bad. I need help for this treatment. Help me walk.
I literally am in so much pain right now.
I know. That's why I thought you meant that.
It's so bad right now, and I'm just like, I can't move. I can't do anything.
God.
I'm literally laying here flat on my back in like, it like is bad. It's the worst I've had in a long time, and I'm just like, shallow breathing as I lay here. But it's okay, because I'm having fun.
Breathing. This is so jammy. It's delicious.
I know. I just want to like.
I know.
I can smell it from here, but I shouldn't drink anymore because I'm having issues.
Yeah.
But it smells so good.
Anyway, Margaret's house is haunted.
Sure is.
There have been some notable instances involving
it's us.
Margaret and JJ.
It's us when we die. We just haunt her house as like ghost fangirls from Margaret Brown.
Yes, please.
We're just like,
we're making a pact right now. We're gonna do it.
When we die, we will go haunt Margaret Brown's house together.
Can we please go while we're living though?
Yeah.
And just go see her house.
We'll do that.
How are we gonna haunt it if we've never seen it before?
Margaret.
You know, I won't
Love
know
you.
the layout.
I don't have ghosty GPS. Come on now, I don't even have living GPS.
Yeah.
No.
Don't make fun of me. Shut up.
Anyway, so as mentioned earlier,
Carrie's the best driver of all of us. We can all agree.
I'm a good driver. I'm just directionally challenged.
oh, I can find my way around anything.
Bitch, you get up on a motherfucker's ass, and I'm like, oh my God, we gotta die. I'm hitting my pass, and
They're
they're like,
driving too
great.
slow.
Okay. The other day, I was a good distance from this car
Oh, you
in my
text
apartment.
us.
Yeah, I texted y'all. All right, listeners. If
She's
this
like, I need your support.
if this bitch is listening, come find me. So,
Post up, bitch.
I I just went and checked the mail at my apartment complex because we have not moved into our house yet. And, I got out and I was pulling around. This girl, first off, cut me off going the wrong way around a turnabout.
Ah, bitch! That's when you
exactly
get out
what
your
you're
car.
talking
And so I got up behind her. I was about 2 car lengths behind her and going 10 miles an hour in an apartment complex parking lot. And she slammed on her brakes and threw up her hand. And I thought like the car in front of her stopped short because there was a speed bump. No, it turns out she was mad that I was right behind her, even though I was like a good length away from her. And so she ended up like pulling over, and I thought she was just like letting me go around her, like picking someone up, dropping someone off. She rolled down her window and started yelling at me. I was like, what? Yeah, and so like I didn't realize that she was trying to talk to me until I saw the window roll down. I went by, and I was just like, and she was screaming at me. Like I backed up, like thinking she may have needed help finding a building, and she was like, "Why are you so close behind me? Back up! Give me space!" And I was like, "I was 2 car lengths behind you. I have no idea why you're yelling at me."
Let me tell you, I am mostly chill, except on this podcast, until I'm driving. And then I am a road raging bitch.
I'm
and
never
at
chill.
that point...
Ever.
Clearly, I'm still not over it because she was like, "Well, just go around me. Just go around me." I was like,
bitch.
I will go around you because you're being a psychopath right now.
Yes, and I probably
I
would
was just
use some
appalled.
choice words.
I was literally just appalled that I was not even close to her.
Mm-hmm.
She brake checked me, even though I was going 10 miles an hour.
I would have told that overreactive bitch to calm the fuck
Oh,
down.
she looked like
I would've called the
straight
police.
up white trash.
I would have called the police.
I
See, and
100% would have called the police.
I really wish I would have like
I always do.
eased
If I
up.
see,
I that one time.
I call the police all the time.
I called the police one time. We were driving. I was skipping class because Catherine was a bad influence.
I wanted to
and we went to half price books.
Oh, we went to go buy books.
Because we're nerds. I skipped Britlet to go buy. Dr. Kellogg would have understood and loved it. So
Yeah, Dr. Kellogg, that's amazing.
Yeah, she's amazing. She loves Shakespeare.
Yes.
She always makes fun of
God,
her.
I hate Shakespeare. That's right, I said it. Yes, I really hate
She always
Shakespeare.
makes fun of her big forehead because she's like, in Shakespeare's days, I would have been the rage. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yes, Dr. Kellogg, I love you.
Queen, we love your 5 head.
So we were on, I adored her. She was amazing. So we were on our way to Half Price Books, leaving class, which I was skipping.
Whoops.
Thanks to Catherine.
Well, it's not my fault that the theater and the English buildings were right next to each other.
I know.
And I always finished before you.
I
and
know.
I just didn't have
I
time
was
to wait.
literally sitting on a bench before class, reading
I
for
know.
class, and she was like, "Hey, you want to skip class and go to Half Price Books?" And I was like,
Yes.
yeah. I have freebies in this class because I never skip, so let's do the thing.
What kind of question is that?
So we were driving, and there was this guy and this girl in a truck in front of us, and the guy was driving, and he hauled off and fucking decked this bitch. Her head bounced off the window.
And I said, oh, fuck no. And
I
said,
called
"Great
the
call,
cops.
please."
I called the cops right away, and I don't think they took me that seriously.
They didn't.
Yeah.
Which is a problem.
Yeah.
Because I call the police every single time I feel like I need to.
Yeah.
And I always have the thought of, good police are there to help people.
Right.
I'm not inconveniencing them. And you never know. You never know. I never assume someone else is going to call, ever. I call every single time I see something.
Oh, let me tell
Every
you,
time.
I am the bitch who will call the cops on your ass. I'm not afraid, motherfucker.
Yeah.
If you're acting a damn fool and it calls for the cops to be
Half
called,
the time, if you're acting crazy, were you in the car when I got hit by that drunk lady? I was parked in a car. Like
You
I was,
told me about
I think
this.
Nicolette and Desiree were with me.
Oh, it was right. I was with you right after that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was
yeah.
parked in a car, sitting in my car, waiting for them. They like ran into the store to grab something, and a drunk lady ran into my car and ripped off the whole front bumper.
Yep.
And kept going, and they didn't know I was in there. And I got out and was like, "What the fuck?" And her boyfriend picked it up off the ground and put it back on my car and said, "There's nothing wrong with it." And I called the police, and I'm like, "They're clearly drunk." And you know what? Yeah, they got in a ton of trouble. Yeah, they deserved it, but you know what? They shouldn't be driving drunk. I could have saved their lives.
Yeah,
and I don't care
you
how
were
pissed
coming to
they
meet
were.
me that night. I remember that.
I had a meltdown. And I was like, girl, you cannot be driving right now. Like, I'm in a parked car, and you ran into me and proceeded to keep driving and ripped off the whole front of my car. Like, she was going slow, and
I mean,
just kept going.
I saw an accident on my way over here where someone, it looked like they sideswiped him, but they like peeled off the front bumper of this car. It was, yeah.
And her boyfriend literally picked it up and put it on there and said,
I remember
we
that.
just hit your car.
Yep.
And I said,
I'm sober. Yes, you did.
he said, it's fine. As it like literally falls off. And I was like, what? No, it's not. So I called the cops and they were so mad because they got arrested.
Yeah.
For driving drunk. And I was like,
yeah.
You need to be. I'm sorry. You cannot be doing that. You're going to kill someone.
Yep.
And my uncle was hit by a drunk driver when he was walking to work one day. Uncle Steve. That's
Yeah.
why he only has half a leg.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he only has half a leg.
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah.
Vertical. Not horizontal.
Huh.
Yeah, it's real funny looking. When before his stroke.
He was wearing shorts for your wedding.
Yeah.
I did not notice.
His entire
See,
calf muscle.
this is how you know I give not a single fuck about any of that shit, and I don't notice. Like, one time we were touring campus, and this guy approached us because my sister's hot and was, like, talking to her, and we walked away, and she's like, he had a boner, and I was like, oh, he did? Like, I do not notice this shit because I don't give a shit about any of that. I don't notice.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, he was wearing shorts, and I didn't notice.
Sure was.
Oh my goodness. See, in your story, okay, I'm telling the story. I have to. I was in high school. I was a senior, and I was just, like, sitting in on the freshman class. I don't know why. I think my teacher was gone that day, and so I just, like, sat in on this other class. And so I was sitting at a lab table. It was science class. So I was sitting off to the side, because we had the center portion set aside for, like, class time in the labs. So I was doing my work over in the lab station, and this little freshman boy was talking to this girl and had, like, hardcore boner talking to this girl, and I was like, honey, if you don't notice this, and like, tuck it into your waistband. You're wearing basketball shorts. And like,
that's what they do.
I
if
know.
you're in school and you get a boner, you tuck it under your fucking waistband.
Yeah.
I don't notice these things, and I know them.
Oh, yeah. They're like, what?
I say this 14 times a day. God help me if I have sons.
Catherine told me I'd be a good boy mom, and I was like, aww.
She would, because Bree'd be like, tuck your boner, honey.
Honestly, though, that would be a conversation that would be had.
Yeah.
And I'm just like crying and being like, you're pee-pee.
I'm a great cat mom. As Maya literally yesterday, I put it on Snapchat, but y'all aren't on Snapchat?
I am. Oh my god, we need to add each other.
I know. I'm like,
don't
I
use
want
it.
to send you.
I don't use it either.
We're friends. But I
I
never
don't-
check anything.
I'm super old. I do nothing.
I don't use it either, but I watch other people's when I get on.
Yeah, so like I'll like send you everything. But
Oh
no,
my God.
Maya like crawled up and like her face was on my face, and I was like, okay, baby.
You just screenshot your Snapchats and send them to me now.
yeah, because I get
Because Catherine's 80 and doesn't use
I really
Snapchat.
am.
She's like my mother. My
Yeah.
mom's not 80, by the way.
yeah.
Karen's
Anyway,
gonna show up here
oh
and
my
beat
gosh,
slap
we
you.
spent 10 minutes talking. We need ghosts.
Sorry, one more time. Karen asked me what the name of our podcast was so she could listen to it, and I was like, Karen. You don't even know what a podcast is. I love you, Mom.
My mom
She
can
probably would.
If my mom can do it,
If she knew how, she probably would. I love you, Karen.
if my
I
mom
think
can
my
do
parents
it,
would have a heart attack if they listened.
I really hope they never listen because the first 10 episodes I was like, hi, your mom probably hates me. And I'm actually like, I don't think it's funny. I just nervous laugh a lot.
my mom loves it.
Well, Leslie also appreciates the fucks.
She always is like,
Yeah.
she's always like, how do I get to the podcast? She's like, what do I do? I'm like, click this button. It's your only podcast on there. And she's like, where is that? And I'm like,
Leslie,
right here.
I
It's the
love-
only one, Mom. I only upload. She goes, could I listen to it on the Alexa when I cook? And I was like, yeah. She's like, well, that's handy.
yeah.
And then
I'm
she always
like,
calls her Alexis. She's like, Alexis, play podcast. I'm like, come on. Mom, you gotta tell them which podcast.
Oh my God, Leslie.
Alexis! Alexis!
I love her.
She's talking to Siri.
yeah.
I'm like, Jesus.
I'm sorry, I'll let you get to your ghost.
Ghost.
Yeah, so I've never swearing from my parents, so, you lucky bitches.
I love how gradually throughout this podcast you've started cussing more.
I swear at my parents
And
pretty
same.
much daily.
Same. And I'm so proud of that.
I swear
But
at your
also
dad,
I'm
too.
really sad. Sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, so
That's for you, Karen.
as I mentioned earlier, the house was extensively renovated. And according to those who know the history, say that the activity in the house has increased since the renovations. We've talked about this before because you stir up the spirits and they're like,
for renovations.
Nah. Yeah. So first off, JJ liked to smoke his pipe. What?
She said Little Shop, and I said I saw that at Ford Theater. When we went to DC for acapella, we got to watch it at Ford Theater.
Ooh. Where Lincoln was shot. Okay. Anyway, so JJ liked to smoke his pipe, but smoking is
your pipe and smoke it.
But smoking is not allowed in the modern museum. And there have been extensive renovations, therefore the smoke smell should have been out of it. But people still smell pipe smoke.
Pipe smoke is actually kind of lovely smelling.
It is.
But I'm also a secondhand smoke addict. But not like when it sits in shit and like smells later, like freshly smoked.
Yeah. We've talked about this.
We have.
Yeah.
With Colin.
Yeah.
Ew.
On the wine walk.
Yeah. But, yeah, so it's a nice little spooky occurrence when they get a nice little wisp of the pipe smoke. Another notable smell is the floral perfume that Margaret would wear.
Ooh.
Is it lemon verbena?
No.
Good, because I don't like that one. But it's like very popular and old-timey shit.
I don't know what she wore. It just had a floral scent.
I appreciate the floral
She probably distilled it herself from like a rare orchid that she was saving.
Fucking
from
queen
extinction.
also.
That she grew in
smell amazing.
Vanilla beans, orchids.
Together.
Their little inside part, right?
Yeah. Vanilla beans are from orchids. Yeah.
That's why I love them both so much.
Yeah.
I had an orchid once. It lasted 6 months. That's the That's the longest anything's lasted.
I gave my choir teacher an orchid, and I recently saw, and she named it Vivian.
That's amazing.
My senior year of high school, and I recently saw her, and her orchid is huge, and she was like, I've saved every flower that's fallen off, and I have them all in a drawer.
That's so cute.
That's adorable.
Mm-hmm.
I strive
She's
to
like,
be
I just paid
that
a
iconic.
horticulturist to repot her. So she's massive, and she
A
saved every flower that's fallen.
studies flowers. Geologist studies rocks. Sorry, it's from Hot Chicks. Anything to get their cockroaches, beetles, butterflies, and bugs. It's a sex song about high school boys.
Ugh, boys.
Woo!
Right.
Also, I'm almost finished
I can't
with...
believe I married one. Sometimes I'm like, bro,
Right?
Yeah, but he's a good one.
he is a good one. I bet you he'll bring me a brownie if I text him.
Probably. He
It can
brought
bring you
us
one, too.
all drinks.
Oh, yeah.
I need to pay him because I said I would buy
We
his
literally
drink.
owe you $60. We
Anyway.
owe you 1,400 drinks.
Anyway.
This is why it's a part 2.
Yep,
Yeah, what
because
the hell's wrong with us?
now we're already 45 minutes in.
I started mine.
We're having fun over here, if you
We're
can't tell.
so
We are.
funny.
Anyway, so speaking of Margaret, apparently she does not like how they arrange the furniture
I love this queen.
because it's been caught on camera that a woman in Victorian dress rearranges the furniture.
Fucking queen.
She's like, get the fuck out of my house. You guys
Oh
don't
my
know
God.
The couch does not go there.
Oh
It
my
goes
God.
over here. Feng shui, bitches.
Yes. Oh my God. Can we please be those
She's like
queens?
butt scooching the couch over.
Right.
She's like, it doesn't go
Oh my
here.
God. Oh my God, can we please be those queens? They're gonna be like, in 21st century garb. Like, yes! With our fucking t-shirts and leggings.
And our stupid ass mask. It's just me and my Birkenstocks, like, stomping through a living room. And I'm like, the IKEA furniture is over here.
Oh my God, I got lost in an IKEA sheet one freshman year in college.
I fucking love IKEA.
I was like, why is there not another end to this? I was like, inside that fucker, my dad just took a video and he's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm like, there's not another end. I can't find my way out.
I really enjoy their snacks.
Right?
Like, I enjoy eating theirs. And their meatballs are gluten-free.
Okay, I have that much to left to
Oh
go.
my
Okay,
God.
Okay, so workers have said that the temperature will drop and they can feel the presence of Margaret or JJ, along with some other of their family members, and
that's
some
nice.
previous guests to their house.
Us.
Yeah. Some living guests are lucky enough to see apparitions of them too.
Also us.
We're gonna full on Beetlejuice
We're-
this shit.
We're gonna like go and like
We're gonna
chop
Beetlejuice
them.
Like
this
yeah,
hell.
Margaret. Margaret,
we love you. Please come talk to us. Cold spots are said to be felt in odd spots around the house, so I'm assuming that's not where Vincer pointed. Yeah. One
Look
of
at them doing their research.
Yeah.
Did you look behind her?
It wouldn't surprise me if you're like, look at them, they're snugging. I was like, cats?
Yeah. She looked behind her as I talk about the metaphorical researchers of the Margaret Brown house.
But,
They're here.
cats. Yeah.
Margaret Brown is here.
They're with us.
Yeah.
Oh my God, she shows up and she's like,
Margaret,
yes, hi.
love me.
Queen,
Hey.
please.
But yeah, one of the spirits that makes cold spots is Margaret's mother. And she's also been seen through the windows. You can just like see her mother.
See you through the window as I'm standing on a tree outside.
Yeah. So scary.
I love that movie so much.
I quote it all the time, and I'm like, it's fine, I'm 12.
Oh my gosh, I could quote that movie beginning to end.
We did a reproduction of 12th Night in AP English in high school, and my friend Jocelyn was like, some men are born great, and was like birthing a child in the middle of the classroom. She's like, some men achieve greatness as she hip thrusts, and like, and some men have greatness thrust upon them. And I'm like, oh my God, you're so dramatic. It was great.
Oh my gosh.
We also did Othello, and I was both Bianca and Desdemona. And so I had someone come on stage because we had to do like a modern day interpretation.
Oh, people born.
So I also had to teach everyone what Shakespeare meant. And so I had someone come on stage and yell, "Hold on!" at me. And then I died on Othello, which was also my friend Jocelyn. And you could just see our bodies shaking on stage as we laughed.
The most difficult roles to play in the whole repertoire of the Western world, and a high school girl is doing it.
Yep.
Nice.
It was AP English. What do you want from us? We just fucked around the whole time.
But yeah, so Margaret's mother is seen in the windows. There is a ghost that wanders to the second floor, and people believe it's either Margaret or her mother. They don't know which one, but she just like wanders to the second floor.
She's just looking around. She'd be nosy.
Yeah, but probably
Then it's probably the mother.
right. But probably the most unique activity is that museum workers and tour guides have noticed that the light bulbs will mysteriously come unscrewed.
Oh, those little
She doesn't like them.
And so, yeah.
She doesn't like modern day electricity.
She's like, "Ugh, my eyes. I'm having a headache."
But the workers will literally have to go around and like check all the light bulbs, and they have to regularly replace the fixtures because
light bulbs
they're broken.
Turn,
Yeah.
Turds.
But they meticulously have to check them, otherwise they'll just like fall out and break.
What do? Well, I check light bulbs at Ghost Unscrew. That's my job.
I got to check the light
Bruh,
bulbs.
I wish though.
I know, it's a dream.
Yeah.
Like,
I work in a haunted house. I have to check the light bulbs because the
God,
ghosts unscrew them.
please.
It's fine. Yeah.
Is it my turn?
It is your turn.
I need to pull up my
So,
notes.
yeah, that's the Molly Brown house, aka the Margaret Brown house, because Margaret is her name, not
she's
Molly.
a fucking queen.
She is. I just
Get it, Maggie. Get it.
Can we like bring something to her? I don't know what to bring.
We should do a donation in her name.
We bring an offering to our goddess.
I know, but
I
like,
know.
I want to bring something that just like means something.
Yeah.
We'll bring her some merch.
So here's some Dark Side Tour Guides
So that
merch.
might be my new job purchase. I may be spending.
I only gave you 15 options. So.
I may be
Yeah.
spending. You didn't give me this one. I may be spending a ridiculous amount of money to buy a Cricut because one, I could potentially sell shit and make money back and pay for it in turn, and also I could make merch. And I wouldn't obviously write it off for the machine, but I could write off the material.
We sure could.
So merch. And one of them is going to be Beware the Shaft, and it's going to be a fucking elevator shaft with someone's head in it. And there are going to be like bushes or something next to it, so like it'll look like a penis. But like it's an elevator shaft.
No, it needs to have like end tables because obviously
There you go.
So it gets some end tables.
There you go.
And
Or
then
there'll be
potted
the balls.
Like a topiary?
Yeah.
It could be a fucking fern or some shit. There we go.
Okay, so we're hilarious, and it's been a good episode. So, I do want to say this, because I'm going to talk with a lot of fervor about this case.
This case is intense, yo.
Because it is, talking about theories is super, super intriguing in this case. But I want to start off by saying a 6-year-old little girl was murdered.
Yeah.
And
It's
so
fucked
even though
up.
it's fun to talk about, we need to make sure that you remember that this was a real little girl whose life was taken away from her.
Yep.
Which
So
is
I'm
why
starting-
we're not gonna crack a lot of jokes because
No, but
poor sweet
also
baby.
I talk very animatedly about this because I have a lot of thoughts on this, but it is not joy about what I'm talking. It is passion because this little girl deserves to have justice, and I think it can
Amen.
happen at some point because she was a baby. So this technically isn't in Denver. This is in Boulder, which
But
is
it's only 30 minutes away. So
and it's
close
really
enough.
pretty. Boulder, I really enjoy it as an area. But today we are going to talk about JonBenet Ramsey. I do want to point out that it's listed as the death of JonBenet Ramsey on Wikipedia, and it should say the murder. This little girl was murdered and
Full on murdered.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's...
for sure. We'll talk about that.
Because a 6-year-old without any pre-existing conditions doesn't just magically...
There's a fucking bug on the wall.
Don't do that to me.
All right. So JonBenet,
Sweet baby angel.
named after her dad, John Bennett. So this is the French pronunciation, and her middle name after her mom. She would have been 2 years older than me if she were alive right now. And she was killed on Christmas, the year Annie was born. So, like, this is, my parents followed this on the news. You know, like, this
Yeah.
is recent enough. So I talked to my parents about it a lot.
Yeah.
What did Joe and Leslie have to say about it?
We actually all agree.
Yeah.
So she was killed at 6 years old in her family home.
Yeah.
In Boulder, and there was a super long ransom note found in the home. We'll talk about that. Her father, John, found the body in the basement in the wine cellar behind a closed door in the basement of their
Yep.
home. And that was 7 hours after she'd been reported missing. She had a broken skull from a blow to the head from a blunt force object, and she'd been strangled with the garrote made from her mom's paintbrush handle, because her mom was like a painter.
So what was used as just regular wire?
It was like cabling, yeah.
Okay.
With the handle of a paintbrush.
Yeah.
The autopsy report stated the official cause of death was asphyxia by strangulation associated with craniocerebral trauma. So she was strangled, but she was going to die from the head injury. Essentially is what that means. It was ruled a homicide, and this was super into the media for a couple different reasons. So
Yeah.
JonBenet was a child beauty pageant,
Mm-hmm.
which is his own situation.
She looks like a fucking toddler in tiaras, like literally the
No,
TV shows.
That's what it's
So,
from.
like,
I know.
gorgeous, yeah.
I know.
But that's so she did beauty pageants, which as a performer I have really mixed feelings about beauty pageants because it's like a performance art, but also it's like weirdly sexualized by other people,
Oh yeah.
not by the
Yeah.
performers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have a weird thing about
It's
it.
putting
they
a
want
child
these-
in that type of spotlight to be exposed to predators.
Well, and they want these children to look like adults.
Yes.
Yeah, and like I mean, like I understand the performance value of it.
Yeah.
That's completely different to me.
Well, like, I had
'cause
a
it's not
friend who
viewed as
competed in them.
performance, you know.
Yeah.
So I have lots of thoughts of it. But anyways, I'm not here to judge their parents for putting their daughter in beauty pageants. I'm here to judge them for fucking covering up their daughter's murder.
Yes.
So she was a
If
beauty
you can
queen.
tell what Catherine's theory
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So it's still open by the Boulder Police Department.
Mm.
There's
Yeah.
a really interesting show called Casting JonBenet on
Oh
Netflix.
yeah. Yeah.
It's fascinating the way it's done. It's all local local actors auditioning for the roles of the characters and giving their own thoughts about the
Yeah.
area. Super interesting.
Huh. It's on my list. I haven't watched
It's
it yet.
really interesting.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about it in like order of what happened. So, her parents are Patricia, went by Patsy, and John, right? Those are her parents. She had an older brother named Burke, who was 9 years old at the time, and then this little girl who was 6.
So he was 10 and she was 6.
She was 9. He was 9.
Oh, I thought you said 10.
He was 9, she was 6.
Okay, sorry. I don't know why.
No, you're
I
good.
may have, but he was 9.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Ooh.
they went to bed. Allegedly.
Yeah.
Everyone went to bed.
Yeah.
They woke up. JonBenet was not in her bed. Looked for her, couldn't find her. Reported her missing. Police got to the home. Also, tons of family members. Was not a closed crime scene. 7 hours.
I hate that. I hate when they do that.
Yeah.
Wait. Sorry.
It was not a closed crime scene.
I know. So they invited like the family was allowed to invite other family members in.
They were all there for like support.
Yeah.
And like, but it was an open crime scene. Like,
sorry, I might be a little tipsy.
They conducted a search of the house.
Trying to understand.
But didn't see anything.
Yeah.
And
so
then,
how thorough was this?
not
I'm so
thorough.
sorry.
This is the problem.
It was not
And then
thorough.
the dad and a neighbor walked down into the basement and checked the basement again. And she was in the wine cellar room on the floor, covered in her favorite.
What is in my ear?
My hair. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry.
Brie and I are snugging, and her hair got
I'm
stuck
so
in my
sorry.
ear.
I am
and it
listening.
freaked me out.
Okay, so here's my thing, and this is how I'm proving I'm listening, but also because I'm actually curious. How the fuck?
Did they miss her in the wine cellar?
Yes, if the dad and the neighbor were able to just walk down and casually find her, and also
So
why
she was-
were the dad and neighbor walking down to the wine cellar?
They were looking for if anything was missing.
Also suspicious because the dad is leading the neighbor down to the fucking wine cellar.
Yeah, well, and it was behind a door. So they said that they just walked into the basement and they didn't check. But that was 7 hours after she was reported missing. And how they knew that she wasn't just, like, gone is they found a 3-page ransom note, 2.5 pages, 3 pages, ransom note that was written on paper and with a pen that was later determined to be from the Ramsey household. Also, they're loaded.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Paper there was, like, a rough draft of the note. And then the actual note, and they could see it written on the paper that says a foreign faction has them.
Yeah.
We need $118,000, which was the same amount as John's Christmas bonus the previous year. So whoever wrote this knew how much his Christmas bonus was going to be for Christmas.
Not only that, but if there was a fucking rough draft that they could find in the stationery
a foreign faction took this little girl, but then they killed her and left her in the basement. Never even took her out of the house.
Yeah.
And then also never requested
in
a
a
ransom.
place that they would eventually fucking find her. Like, you're not getting a ransom when they find a dead body.
Right.
It's
bullshit. It's all fucking
It is super
bullshit.
We'll talk theories once we
We'll get
lay
there.
out.
Sorry.
So
We're good.
they did a ton of interviews,
Uh-huh.
but resisted police questioning, except for on their own terms.
Yeah.
The interviews are chilling. You can watch them because this was a time, like, super high media coverage.
Yeah.
The grand jury thought about filing charges against JonBenét's parents for permitting the child to be in a threatening situation, but they were never officially charged. Parents were never officially charged. So in 2002, a new DA took over the investigation, and they found trace DNA taken from the victim's clothes that was found to belong to an unknown male, and they said that they tested the family DNA and it's been excluded, but trace DNA is not definitive proof.
Right.
Also, there's no sign of sexual assault, but her genital area was cleaned.
Interesting. Oh,
You know, I have all types of theories about that.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think there was sexual assault, and I'll explain why.
Okay.
Yeah, we can talk about this when we talk about theories.
Yeah.
Because I have some thoughts.
Yeah. So, basically, and there's one reason why that could have happened.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of talking about how the parents didn't handle it correctly.
Well, yeah.
Like, the mom wrote a whole biography, and it's all about her, even though her daughter is the one who was killed.
Yeah.
The parents are super, super, super cold in all the interviews. The police didn't close the crime scene.
Yeah.
Even though if they thought it was even a kidnapping, it should have been a closed crime scene.
Right.
Because the parents were loaded.
So,
I'll get there later.
John Ramsey, Super Reach. It's a subsidiary of Lockheed Martin. He has 2 adult children, and his one daughter died in a car accident at 22, so he's lost 2 kids. Which is
horrible.
Kind of a bummer. But JonBenet is married next to his is buried next to his oldest. And then Patsy used to do child beauty pageants and then kind of forced her daughter into them.
Yeah.
Generally how it goes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the ransom note, I'm just going to read you little snippets. Okay. It starts with listen carefully with an exclamation mark.
Yeah.
We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction. We respect your business, but not the country. that it serves.
Bitch, what?
Yeah, it says you will draw $118,000. It goes on and on.
But, like, that's oddly specific.
Oh, it's so specific. It's not. It's also, look how long it is.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I've
You do
heard
not write a ransom note that
No.
long if you have a little girl in your arms
No.
in a building. So, it's whole big. It's like a whole thing. You stand 100% chance of getting her back.
100%?
Mm-hmm. But she was already dead.
Yeah.
Right.
Patsy said she realized her daughter was missing after she found the 2.5-page handwritten ransom note on the kitchen staircase. So it was unusually long. The FBI thought it was really weird, and the FBI was like, that's not how this works. Police believe the note was staged, but it didn't have any fingerprints on it except for Patsy's and the authorities. First of all, the authorities...
Shocker!
But the
What?
authorities touched it without gloves on.
Idiots! Was it local cops?
At first, yes.
Yeah.
Which,
Wait, FBI?
to be fair,
Ooh, shit.
in Boulder, they'd never had anything like this before. So
I know,
Yeah.
but did
But
the
you should know,
FBI
even-
touch it
But
without
even
gloves?
still.
No.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
So it also had a lot of like exclamation marks and initials, which is like very feminine.
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
use a lot of.
Yes.
The note and practice draft were written with a pen and pad of paper from the Ramsey home. The Colorado Bureau of Investigation said there are indications that the author of the ransom note is Patricia Ramsey. However, the evidence
Yeah.
fell short of a definitive conclusion. A board-certified forensic pathologist, Michael Baden, who consulted with both sides of the case, said he'd never seen a note like that in 6 years of experience, and that he did not think it was written by an outside stranger. But a federal court ruled that it was highly unlikely that Patsy wrote the note, citing certified handwriting experts, which I believe in, but also you can fake
Yes.
that.
Right.
Yes.
And the experts were also didn't have credentials, and they just came forward saying that they were handwriting analysis to defend Patsy.
And the
Yeah.
family was loaded.
Yep. So the 911 call, the only people that were there were
I'm out.
Patsy, John, and Burke. So there's a couple of different theories. So she called the 911 at 5:52. 2 police officers responded to the 911
AM?
call. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Arrived at the Ramsey home within 3 minutes, so they're like on it.
Damn. Yeah.
They conducted, and it's snowy. It's like Colorado in
I
winter.
mean,
Yeah.
I applaud you on that at
Yeah.
the very least.
Well, I don't think that they realized how serious
Yeah.
it's going to be.
Yeah,
So they conducted a cursory search of the house, but didn't find any sign of forced entry. So they were looking for forced entry. They weren't looking for a body.
Right.
Okay.
They did not handle it correctly, but that's why this was incorrect.
Yeah.
Rick French, one of the officers, went into the basement, and the door was secured by a wooden latch. He paused in front of the door, but walked away without opening. He explained he was looking for an exit route used by the kidnapper, and the closed peg inside ruled out that he
Right.
had escaped that way.
So that's understandable. It's
Yeah.
an unfortunate oversight, but
It
it's
is unfortunate,
understandable.
yes, but that's why.
Yeah.
So still missing. John made arrangements to pay the ransom. Forensic team dispatched to the house. So also the officers weren't the forensics team. The team believed that the child had been kidnapped, and Jean Bonnet's room was the only room in the house that was cornered off to prevent contamination. So the rest of the house was still open. No precautions were taken to prevent contamination of evidence in the rest of the house. Family and friends, minister arrived, everyone. So victim advocates also
Minister?
arrived. Yeah, their family's minister to like pray with them,
Okay.
which is
Okay.
ironic if you believe any of my theories.
Mhm.
So people
Yeah.
clean, like visitors cleaned the house to like help,
Yeah.
which is like something you do when there's like a death or something. You like
Like
put away
cleanse.
things, yeah. But she's missing, and people who aren't like us don't realize how detrimental that is.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. That's, I guess.
So they
fair-ish.
waited with the goal of awaiting the kidnappers' instructions to bring the money to them.
Okay,
So
that
they
was my
think that
next
they're like here for like a
question.
vigil to like wait to get this little girl back, right? Because
Right.
they hadn't found the body yet. So they're thinking that they're doing the best. The cops should have known better, but like Nana's not gonna know.
Yeah.
Right.
So at 1 p.m., Detective Arndt asked John Ramsey and Fleet White, which is a family friend, to search the house, see if anything seemed amiss, right? So
Yeah.
he's giving tasks, doing anything that they can do at the house. Still haven't heard from the kidnappers about the ransom. So they searched the basement. John opened the latch door the officer French had overlooked, found his daughter's body in one of the rooms. Jean Bonnet's mouth was covered with duct tape. A nylon cord was found around her wrist and neck. Her torso was covered by a white blanket that was from her room. And he picked up the baby. He picked her up,
Oh my gosh.
which,
Don't.
no. But
I mean,
part
I
of me
get, as a
understands.
parent,
Yeah.
if you don't know what happened,
Yeah.
try, if you don't recognize that
She
they're,
was clearly dead, though. Like,
that's
Yeah.
the thing, though. Like, if they're clearly
like
dead.
if he thought he could save her,
yeah.
that's one thing.
Yeah.
Like, I understand the
Yeah.
response to it, but if she was clearly dead by that point, like,
Yeah.
mourn the loss, but let investigators do their job of why she is now dead.
So he picked her up and carried her upstairs.
And I understand how hard it would be to resist the urge as a parent. Not that I'm a parent,
but placement, everything was completely lost.
Yeah.
Plus now DNA and fiber evidence is contaminated, which I think he did on purpose.
Yeah.
But anyways, each of the Ramseys provided handwriting, blood, and hair samples to police. John and Patsy participated in preliminary interview for more than 2 hours. Burke was also interviewed within the first couple of weeks. They all had the same story.
Within the first couple of weeks, not immediately?
No, and John and Patsy were interviewed together.
Yep.
You cannot interview people together.
They botched this fucking investigation.
Well, they are thinking these poor parents.
I
They're
understand.
Not thinking they murdered this little girl. But
fuck.
Yeah.
You always suspect the family and you always fucking separate them.
So, the autopsy revealed that she was killed by strangulation, skull fracture. There was no evidence of conventional rape, although sexual assault cannot be ruled out. There was no semen. There was evidence that this says a vaginal injury, but everything that I read, that her vaginal area had been wiped clean with a cloth.
Yeah.
But if there was vaginal injury, they still could have raped her with a foreign object.
This is the only place that I've seen this.
Okay.
Everything I'd seen was that there was no sexual assault, but it was cleaned. Which is suspicious.
Yep.
Well, to me, so apparently she had a problem with wetting the bed.
Yeah. Which means previous abuse. Or
she was just a little girl who wet the bed.
Right.
And she wet the bed this night and someone cleaned her off.
Yeah.
That's possible. One of the theories is that her mom got mad because she wet the bed and hit her in the head. And then that's one of the theories. So that makes sense to that. Also, it doesn't say if the rest of her is wiped off.
Yeah.
But if someone...
But to know if her legs are...
Yeah, because if someone, just wiped her whole body down, that makes sense. But you defecate when you die, and you could have wanted to clean her up before you laid her in her spot. And I have a thing of that. So, her death was rused, a homicide. The garrote made from nylon cord and broken handle of a paintbrush. That was her mom's. It had been used to strangle her. Part of the bristle end of the paintbrush was found in a tub containing Patsy's art supplies, but the bottom third was never found despite extensive searching. So there's part of the paintbrush that was never found. So the autopsy revealed, so this is important, this is one of the theories, that vegetable or fruit material, which may represent pineapple, was found in her stomach. Yes. So here's the thing. Parents said they didn't feed her pineapple. There was a bowl of pineapple on the table, though, with a spoon in it, and the only fingerprints were her brother Burke's.
Yep.
Who's 9.
Yep.
So she'd eaten it, and they can't conclusively... Now they could conclusively, but they're pretty sure it was pineapple, and it was on the kitchen table with a spoon in it. John and Patsy said neither one of them did it, and they didn't feed it to her, but Burke's fingerprints were on there. The Ramseys said that he slept the whole night and was awakened several hours after the police arrived. So they kept this little boy asleep while his sister is missing up in his room.
No. I have Okay.
So
I have a lot of problems with that.
All of this.
Yeah, and so they found mixed blood sample on Jean Monet's underwear to establish a DNA profile, which normally means that there was sexual assault, but also if they hit her when she was in her jammies, like little girl jammies, a lot of times the blood can get on because they're short. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if she was just in her little panties and her little jammies, she could have just been in a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Sexual assault makes sense in one case, but not in the case that I think it is.
It could have been sexual assault and not rape, and they thought, well, fingerprints, because if he penetrated her digitally, they could have been afraid that on her labia or in some way there could have been fingerprints or something, because who the fuck knows? And so they were trying to clean for that.
Well, and they say the DNA belonged to an unknown male, but it's also touch, and whoever it was is not in CODIS. There are additional traces of male DNA found in the cord and the paintbrush. There was no forensic evidence to show that this is a stranger murder, so they didn't find anything besides just trace DNA. Yeah. But some of the people, so there's a whole bunch of, I have a bunch of stuff about the mess up for the, of the law and how that was handled. But I'm going to talk about theory. So there's 2 theories, each with subcategories. First one is family member theory. Yeah. Mom, dad, brother, combination. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay? The other one is stranger theory. One of the strangers is like an intruder theory. One of them is that they had a Santa at the party that they interviewed. like a Santa Claus at the party, but his DNA didn't match.
Right.
And so I have so much information. But those are the two options, right? In a kidnapping or child murder, it's either a stranger or the family.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
Those are the two options. And so they did a lot of interviewing. Not everyone was as cooperative. So there was the false confession that I'm going to talk about real quick, and then I'm going to talk about theory. So John Mark Carr was a 41-year-old elementary school teacher, and he was arrested in Bangkok, Thailand in 2006 when he falsely confessed to murdering Sean Benet. He claimed that he drugged, sexually assaulted, and accidentally killed her. They did not find any drugs in her system. So they were like, this guy obviously didn't do it, right?
Right.
And authorities didn't have any evidence linking him to the crime scene, but he did do research on the case, and he was a convicted pedophile.
Yeah.
So he was a convicted pedophile who wanted the glory of having done this, which is disgusting.
Because the name Jean Bonnet.
There was
Thank you.
They did a DNA test. There was nothing, and she had no drugs in her system at all. There was also a defamation lawsuit that the Ramseys did, saying that they were considered suspects, and the police never made them suspects. And Burke also sued people, saying that he was never a suspect after a TV show listed him as a suspect, the brother, because he's like 32 or something now. They also thought maybe the former housekeeper had done it, and a local person committed suicide shortly after, so they tested all these people, and it was none of them, right? Someone thought that maybe it was someone from his work, or like someone who came to the pageants and like fell in love, quote, with her, who came in.
It makes me want to vomit.
Yeah, but
I hate people.
Here's the thing.
A lot.
I don't want to say this because he sued a bunch of people for saying that. My thought is that it very possibly could have been a 9-year-old boy who hit his sister in the head because he got mad at her.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the parents not being able to lose 2 children covered it up.
Yeah.
Which is horrible.
Yep.
But I also kind of I could understand
it being an accident on his part, but it's
they
still
strangled her.
Yeah.
Yep. They could have gotten her to a hospital.
Yeah.
She could. A neighbor said that he hit her in the head with a golf club before because he got mad at her.
So that would not surprise me in the least bit.
But they think that it could have been a baseball bat. 9-year-old boys have those laying around.
Yeah.
And the note, I 100% I'm positive that Patsy wrote the note.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only fingerprints on there. It very clearly, to me, is written by... I have no skills, but to me, it looks like a panicked woman who's trying to make it sound scary.
Mm-hmm. Well, the number is oddly specific.
And only a woman's going to write 3 pages of ransom.
Right.
I'm sorry. And her exclamation, and she's like, get some rest because you're going to need it. Only a woman would write that.
Right.
A woman
because a man isn't going to give a fuck. They're going to be
like,
give me my shit and do it right fucking now.
Give me my $200,000, not $118,000. That's too oddly specific.
The snow was not disturbed around the house. There was cobwebs in all the windows. I truly think it was someone inside this house who did it.
Not only that, but why would she be left in the fucking wine cellar?
Right.
Why would they have used the handles as the mother's fucking paintbrush?
If one of my kids is missing, my other kid is in my arms.
Right.
They are not
asleep.
Me.
Not fucking sleeping for hours after the fact.
And he came down and he was like, hey, what's going on? They had to teach that little boy to be like, you need to stay up here.
Yeah.
This is what you need to do. To me, they completely coached this little boy.
Oh, yeah.
To not lose him, too.
How do you not wake up to the sounds of police sirens and police lights?
Her bedroom next door.
And police searching the fucking house. Bullshit.
When I was growing up...
How do they not search his room?
Right?
I don't know. It's so bizarre to me. And the only thing I can think of is that there's actually a Criminal Minds episode based off of this theory.
Yeah.
And it could have been an accident. He could have not meant it, but someone still had to garrote that little girl.
Right.
Because she wasn't going to survive that head trauma.
Well, so jumping back just a little bit, as a little kid whose parents would frequently have people over, church group, friends, whatnot, and then go upstairs and quote-unquote go to bed, I was awake forever waiting for these people to go to sleep, or to leave, so I could go to sleep.
My ass was standing at the banister looking through the slab.
Right? Like, I want to know what they're saying. I'm nosy.
That's what I mean. Like, there's no
So,
way
like,
a 9-year-old...
how did this kid not
And the
wake up with the
pineapple.
police there?
He woke up.
Pineapple is so weird.
He was eating a snack in the middle of the night. His sister does something he doesn't like.
Yeah.
Maybe
He hits
she
her.
even, like, tried to eat his pineapple because she had some in her stomach.
Yeah.
Maybe she just, like, stole some and he was pissed about it and fucking hit her.
And then...
And you know, maybe she went to bed earlier that night, got wiped clean.
Well, there's a really graphic scene in the Casting Jean Bonnet where
Yeah.
they give 9-year-old actors a hammer
Yeah.
and say, hit this watermelon. And the boys are like, yeah! Because people are like, there's no way a 9-year-old has enough strength to crack this skull. They shatter those watermelons. He also said there's a thing that when he was talking to a psychologist, and he says something like, she's like, oh, what happened to your sister? And he's like, I don't know, I bet you someone got a knife or like someone got a hammer and he mimicked hitting her on the head. That's a lot for a 9-year-old boy.
Yeah.
And someone posted, there was a whole TV show based off of saying that he could have been a suspect, because the police have stated he's not a suspect, and his DNA was also checked against her.
Yeah.
So, he sued a bunch of people for defamation, and then he did a Dr. Phil interview where he came on and answered questions, and there's a lot of debate. He's smiling the whole time. But like,
That's not terrifying.
But it's like clearly an uncomfortable smile.
Yeah.
And some people say it's just because he's uncomfortable talking about this. And some people say it's because he's hiding something. But regardless, it makes me super uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever know, but I hope we get some answers for this little girl.
Yeah.
And the way that the
She was
parents handled
fucking
it.
6.
And like, and a lot of
Yeah.
times, so here's the thing. A lot of times when a child is killed, the parents get separate because they can't handle it.
Right.
These two sat right next to each other, but they weren't touching. They weren't crying. But this because I think they have a secret that they're sharing, and that's what kept them together, and it's, we have to protect our son.
Have a
Yeah.
secret. Keep it. Because 2 can keep a secret if one of them is dead. Although Benjamin Franklin said 3 can keep her secret.
If 2 of them are
Oh my
dead.
god, I'm slurring.
Yep, you are.
But yeah, so there's like Santa Claus theory, there's an intruder theory. Some people think the mom did it because she kept wetting the bed and she just like lost her shit. Some people think the dad was sexually assaulting her. Some people think that it was the brother who got mad. Some people think that they were like super rich and they would have parties and trade each other's daughters.
Yeah.
How very Black Dahlia of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. But to me, the only thing that would... I'm not a parent, so I don't know. But to me, the
But it
only
also
thing...
wasn't handled well.
Oh,
No. But
And that's what's the problem with all these cold cases that have never been solved, is that they're not fucking handled well.
Yeah. Well, to me, the only thing that would give me any sort of comfort after losing a child would be protecting my other child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the only thing I can think of.
Especially if it's you, your spouse, or your child that killed your other child.
Mm-hmm.
You know, protecting that secret.
And I feel like if it would have been John, she would have ratted him out. She wouldn't have written that note.
Yeah. And
The only person besides herself that I could see her protecting is Burke.
Right.
And that's such a motherly thing to do. Because
Yeah.
if you think about it, a mother is more likely, not in all instances, but in
And
most,
it's not
a
like
mother
he
is
was
more
18.
likely...
He was 9 years old.
A mother is
He's
more
still a
likely
baby.
to defend another child than she is her own spouse.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I think so. And
Yeah.
it's not like he was a grown child that mother's still alive for.
Right.
He was he was a baby himself.
child.
His brain's not developed.
No. Not
He-
nowhere near.
Like I said, he could not have meant it.
Right.
Like he could not have
could not
processed
process it.
this is what death means.
Yeah.
But
It's permanent.
if they did, can you imagine if one of those parents garroted their baby girl, but she was covered in her favorite blankie? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
That is a loving gesture. Like,
And that's why part of
I'm
me...
laying you to rest
Someone knew.
with
Well-
comfort and, like...
And something, I don't know, someone and she was still in the home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like they threw her on a
Yeah.
garbage pile outside.
Right.
They couldn't do that.
Well, the ransom note was definitely just something to just kind of like throw away suspicion.
Yeah.
Because...
And it was a second draft written within the home on the home stationery, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, and if you already murdered a little girl that you're asking for ransom, would you stay there and write?
If you're a kidnapper or a murderer, you would not stay in the home that long to write.
And would you leave the body of the kid that you're trying to ransom in the home?
No, you would take it and hide it and get your money.
Yeah.
That's what...
Even if you kill it.
If you carried her down 2 flights of steps, you could carry her out the front door.
Yep.
And a 6-year-old. She's tiny.
She is tiny.
She is tiny.
And, like, part of me, like, I don't know what part of her was wiped clean. Like, they focus a lot on her genitals because there are so many cases of sexual assault. But if she died, like, it wouldn't be surprising for me to have a mom clean off her baby.
Right.
Before they hide her in the basement until... the dad finds her body that the police missed earlier. I don't know. Because, like, no one... Like, the cop didn't even check there because he said there's no way a kidnapper could have escaped down here because the door is shut from the inside.
Because their assumption was that it was a kidnapping and not...
a murder inside the home.
So here's my thing. If the door is shut from the inside and, like, locked that way, how does anyone get back out? And keep the door
That's
locked.
a question that police did not ask themselves when they were doing this investigation. Because clearly, if it was locked from the inside, it would have to remain inside the
Well, it was
house.
like a latch. Like, it wasn't locked, but, like, you know the latches that, like, go down?
Yeah.
But still.
So, the door was just open.
Yeah.
He laid her down and then walked back down, shut the door.
But, like, what about the rest of the house? If the rest of the house was locked up, did they even check?
They did. And even, like, they thought maybe there was a screen that had a rip, but there was cobwebs of the rip.
Yeah.
And, like, there's snow in Colorado. They didn't see anything.
Yeah. And so, I mean, clearly, like,
and
just
someone
from the
who doesn't
looking
care
around,
about a person, like, throws their body places.
Yeah.
Because they don't care. Or they hide it so they don't get caught. They don't leave it in the house with a blankie.
Yeah.
I don't know. If they had evidence... they would have convicted the parents or the brother.
Right.
So there is no, like, we don't have evidence, which means...
But also, how much evidence did they destroy in not conducting the investigation properly?
And it could be someone who broke in there and is just really bad at this.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I just... if the parents or the brother do know more, their guilt has to be eating them away. So Patsy died from cancer.
Yeah.
So she's not around anymore, but
So she died with that secret.
Yeah.
If she knew or not, but...
And if she didn't know, she died not knowing what happened to her daughter.
Right.
And if she did know, she took that secret to the grave with her, and obviously she cared a lot about whoever it was that she was protecting.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's infuriating.
Yep.
And there's so many angles, and, like, I'll talk myself into one, and then I'm like...
then this also this other angle... would make sense, and it's just...
Oh, all of them can make sense. That's the thing, is that because we don't have any real evidence, and, I mean, it is just trace DNA from a different person, which is so hard to... You can't really... That's not enough to convict anyone, but the fact that they ran it through CODIS, like, if you sexually assault and murder a little girl and break into someone's house, you're in CODIS.
Yeah.
Like, you are caught.
There should be some form of crime.
That you've been caught for.
Yeah.
So, like, either it was someone really inexperienced or that broke in and did it, or someone who maybe died right afterwards, so didn't get to be put in there. But I just, that's why they thought the guy who committed suicide may have been involved.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the people afterwards did a good job, like, looking into things, because, like, they flew to Thailand and arrested this guy. Like, they tried to get justice for this little girl, but I just feel like they were not prepared because of the situation was not explained to them initially.
Right.
And that, to me, like, I wouldn't be able to walk if I found my daughter's body.
No.
I'd be on that floor.
Yep.
And I'd probably contaminate it that way.
Yep.
Right, but not by touching her body.
But we also know. So, like Catherine said earlier, and I don't know because as someone who knows, I don't know that other people do know.
Yeah.
But, like, we also
like,
know.
procedural TV shows are so popular.
I know.
Right.
You
I
would
know.
think you wouldn't touch the body.
I know.
Well, like, I'm trying to think.
Like,
You know, I've
her
lost-
mouth was taped. Her arms were a
Yeah,
thing.
fucked up.
Well, that's what I feel like. Once her head was hit, they tried to make it look like a kidnapping.
Yeah.
They
They knew they messed up.
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm trying to think, you know, I've never... The only people I've lost human-wise are my grandparents, and they died naturally. But, like, with my pets, the ones that I've lost naturally, a lot of them I was holding when they died just because they wanted, you know, mom to be there holding them, protecting them, and whatnot. Or I took them to the vet and had them put down because quality of life was deteriorating. And so in every single one of those instances, as soon as the realization hit that I had to put them down, they were dying in my arms, or my grandparents died, like, I could not control myself, and I would fall. And so I don't know if I had my own child die and have some, you know, even if I thought it was a kidnapping, I would be, you know, so distraught.
And
I could
I would
not
have
function.
my other kid would
Right.
not be leaving
No.
my eyesight at all times.
No, like,
That kid could be 27 and I say, you do not leave mommy's eyesight because I swear to God.
Well, and I would be, like, hugging them, holding them,
Yep.
something
Yep.
to just have that physical connection
I
with
would
them.
I would need to know that they were there.
Oh,
with me.
yeah. Well, like, honestly, the most heart-wrenching death that I've experienced was my dog, because I was in college and I was in Lubbock and my family was here in Dallas, and I literally did not have anything to hold on to. My roommates were horrible to me. I had one who was actually decent, but she was still asleep at that point. And so I was literally alone. I could not stand because my parents had texted me saying, hey, we had to take our dog to the ER and put him down because his quality of life was deteriorating so fast. And, you know, I craved that physical attention, that holding, something to let me physically know that I was okay. And as a mother, I mean, like, this dog was my Christmas present my first grade year. So this was the age that Jean-Benet was killed. And so, you know, growing up with that, I was in college when this happened. And so I had 13 and a half years with this dog, which is more than she had. And I was so connected to it that I physically could not stand. I was on my knees in my bathroom weeping.
Yeah.
Like, how could these parents not have this physical reaction to this?
See, and now, so my one grandpa, when he died, he was the first person that I, like, knew that was, like, actually related to me, that I died and, like, actually experienced that. And he died, he was in a nursing home, he had, like, cancer, pancreatic, and, like, eroding esophagus and all this other shit, and so he was on a feeding tube. But, like, the nurse fed him a root beer barrel, and he choked on it and died.
Oh, my God.
But they called us and acted like he was just, you know, he wasn't doing well, and, like, had us come in.
Yeah.
And acted like, as soon as we got there, like, oh, he just died. But it took us maybe half an hour from the call to get there. And rigor mortis had already set in.
Yeah.
So that was bullshit. And the fucking, mortuary examiner, whatever, picked him up, but we couldn't afford to do an autopsy. But, like, they're like, in my professional opinion, unofficially, he died from this.
Asphyxiation.
Yes. So, I reacted in a completely different way.
Yeah.
I, like, shut myself off from other people and separated myself from other people, and I was, like, very angry and lashing out verbally and shit like that. So, like, I can understand not necessarily wanting to be with people or needing to be, like, physically touched or anything.
But it was still
but
an
also,
extreme reaction.
Yes. It was also still a very extreme reaction. So, I don't know.
Yeah, this case, I've heard it multiple times, and obviously discussing it. There are so many things that don't add up, and it infuriates me.
I want to click on this. It says, buy 1 square foot plot of land in Scotland and become a lord or lady today.
Please! Also, I really have to pee, but, like,
Also, I just, like, punched your husband's microphone.
That. I want to
And
do
it-
that.
It hurt my hand.
Too.
I am a lady, damn it. Despite all the
So what I'm gonna
cursing.
get Colin and I for our anniversary.
I'm Scottish.
Yeah, so
Oh my God,
I
2
need to
square
find
feet
me
of
a
land
Fraser.
is $90. I'm fucking buying it. I'm buying this.
the 2 square feet of land in
Oh
Scotland.
my God, I want to do it. I'm a lady. I'm a Scottish
But you know what it's for? It's for the United Kingdom Wilderness Project, so they plant a tree on your land.
Oh my
That's
God,
what
Catherine,
it's
I
for.
want to be buried under a tree. I need to do this.
So buy yourself some land
gonna
and
do
get
that.
buried under the tree. All right. Well, speaking.
It's in Aberdeenshire,
Oh my God.
Well,
and
We-
you can visit it.
we hope you are inspired by Margaret Brown, and she is your new queen, and that you will, I don't know, inspire the increased desire for resolve in the JonBenet Ramsey case.
Yeah, gosh,
Like, if this could be solved, I want it to be
Ooh.
solved.
please.
So, we hope you enjoyed your tour of Denver. Bye.
Bye.
Follow us on Instagram at Darkside Tour Guides and on Twitter at Darkside Guides. Give us a like on Facebook at Darkside Tour Guides. Visit the blog at darksidetourguide.wordpress.com or email us at darksidetourguides@gmail.com.